What is up, everybody? Welcome to Dharma Time here on WPSN99.com. I, as always, am the Dharma Guy, and he is the Dupe Doctor. What is up, man?
Did you say the dupe doctor?
The Dupe Doctor. The Dupe.
Sounds really close to dupe, Trinity.
Hey, I'm responsible for what I say, not what you hear.
Hmm.
Anyway, so welcome everybody. It feels like it's been a long time since we've done Dharma Time. I think it's been a couple
Right?
weeks.
Yeah,
I
always
know
feel.
for those of you who are really plugged into what we do, we were on the couch live, obviously. But for those of you who solely watch us on Dharma Time, I don't think we've been on for a few weeks. But it's been kind of hectic. As everybody knows, the holidays are upon us. And then, of course, he's a celebrity, so we're basically at his disposal when it comes to time. Whatever
Oh,
we fit
wow.
in. Um,
Oh,
so, but anyways, I digress. Here we are today on this lovely Tuesday. For those of you watching live, for those of you watching recorded, whatever day it is for you, who knows? I will say that the weather is getting better. It was good for like a couple weeks. Now it's hot again, but supposedly my mother assures me that next week is going to feel good again. So we'll see. Um, but
oh, your mother meteorologist, I see.
she's apparently more plugged in and in tune than I am. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's her
Awesome.
knee. All right, I think her knee tells her what the weather's going
Her,
to be.
her knee tells her.
It's going to be
Her
a
knee's
cold
probably
one.
tell. Her knee's probably telling her. I walked a lot at Walmart yesterday. Is probably
Yeah,
what it's
man.
saying.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Right, that's what today's show's
Yeah,
about. Right. Today's
yeah.
show, for those of you who can't read the little part here, is giving back or give back. Actually, it's more of a directive. Give back. And as many of you might
You
know,
tell me
as
what to do.
that's right. As what's behind him on the screen is Now Matters More, right? So nowmattersmore.org. It's a foundation of which I'm the president. He is the founder, and we help
Yeah.
individuals who are struggling with the disease of addiction. By all means, if you or somebody knows struggling, give us a call at 833 Now Matters. That's 833 Now Matters. Or you can go to the website, nowmattersmore.org. And while you're on the website, you can fill out an application if you need help, or you can hit that donate button if you want to support a good cause. But I brought that up, other than to promote, I guess, but I brought that up to illustrate how we both, that's one avenue we choose to give back.
Yeah.
And I think giving back is such an important thing, man. I think it's really underappreciated. I think, right? And I don't
Mm.
mean underappreciated from the people receiving it. I think it's underappreciated for those who are able to give it. And what I mean by
Mm.
that is, it just feels so darn good. You know,
Mm.
it feels so good when no matter what's happening in your life, whether it be the normal everyday stresses of just what's happened in your everyday life, the COVID stuff, financial, doesn't matter. If in the midst of all that, you're still able to bring a smile to somebody's face or to give that person a reason to shine that day. God, it feels so good, man. It really does. And I've been doing that, gosh, my whole life. Um, I think so. So full disclosure for those of you that watch the Couch Live, we here at WPSN have the privilege of having many friends, and we made a new friend, and his name is Drayton Florence. He's an ex-NFL player. He started the Drayton Florence Foundation. He was on the Couch Live on Friday, and he had an event coming up. It was actually last night, and during this event, essentially, long story short, he is able to be in a position that the foundation gives $100 gift cards to some deserving children, and then the volunteers, aka us last night, take them around Walmart and we help them spend that $100 and give them some sort of a Christmas gift or give them, just something to brighten their day, essentially. And we
Right.
had a
Right.
great time last night. And I remember Drayton was asked, like, kind of how he got into it, and I'm going to ask you the same question, and that is, he remembers his first exposure to giving back. His first exposure, if I remember correctly, was something to do with a school, I think it was, and they took him to a Special Olympics event, and he thought he was going to participate. He didn't know what was going on. He wasn't really well versed on what the Special Olympics was. And then when he got there, he started to realize, okay, well, I'm obviously not going to participate. Oh, I'm here to volunteer. And he started helping, and he just really enjoyed it. He got bit by the bug, so to speak, and now he is more inclined and motivated to give back and things of that nature. Um,
Right.
I think I remember my first, if not my first, one of my very early ons, right? I might
Oh,
have done.
please tell us about your first.
Well, name one. Yeah. So, I don't. It might not be the actual first time. I don't know, but the one that sticks out the most in my mind. When I was younger, I was in the Boy Scouts, right? I was in Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, and worked my way up for a little bit. And one of the things we did there was a home here locally in Orlando, and in this home it was like a school slash home. I don't quite remember it all as a kid, but it was essentially a facility that, and you might even know it actually. It was down over there by OBT, Oak Ridge, like that general area, and it was for special needs kids. It was like a cottage type thing right off of, I think it was Holden or Oak Ridge, somewhere around there, right off of OBT, and and in this home, it was like a school slash home slash like daycare, and a lot of the
Hmm.
kids they had special needs like Down syndrome, stuff like that. And I remember going there, and I
The
was a kid.
Devereaux?
It might have been. I don't know. Is that like basically looks like on the outside like a house?
I don't remember what it looked like, but there was
Okay.
Devereaux and then Father something.
And
There's
we're
another
talking
place.
this would be probably late '80s, early '90s,
Yeah, I would think Devereaux is probably the place it was.
right? All right. So we went there, and as the Boy Scouts, we went and we did a lot of like landscaping for them. Like we did the garden for them. We planted some trees, some flowers, and then we went inside and we read to them and hung out with them for a little bit. And I remember immediately I had a couple of emotions, right? My immediate emotion was, um, ah, full disclosure, this is the late 80s, early 90s. I'm a kid, I'm an adolescent, and I'm a little pain in the butt adolescent. My first thought was, why are we going and help all these retards? It was a horrible thought, I know, but that was at that age, I was like, why are we around these people? And then when we went inside, I remember being a feeling of uneasy because they were kind of awkward and I didn't know how to interact with them and I didn't know if they were dangerous. I didn't know if I just it was completely foreign and new to me. But all those thoughts that I had quickly went away and were turned around when they were just so freaking cool, dude.
Yeah.
They were so fun to be around. They were so cool. They were so loving. They were so innocent. And even at that age, I was touched by it. I was touched by like, wow, dude, like these guys really appreciate me just showing up and being here. Like I made their day, and you could see it on their face. Like maybe it was because of their supposed disabilities, they didn't hide their joy and their enthusiasm. Like they weren't trying to be cool, They were just letting it all out, and it was like at that age in my life, it was just such a impactful moment that I was like,
Yeah.
dude, this is really cool. Like I completely got over any fears that I had of them or any misconceptions. They were so cool, and then that spurned me going into like elementary school. I remember being what was called a super kid, where when I was in elementary school, I was in the higher grades, like fourth, fifth, I would go down and read to the second and third graders. Like it just started my journey of wanting to just help other people, and I remember that being my first time where I got a taste of it, and it was just I've been doing it ever since, man. I mean, so do you remember
Cool.
your first exposure to just giving of yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, and oddly enough, it was pretty similar to Drayton's because mine was in seventh grade. I belonged to multiple friend groups at the time, like I always did. Now, mind you, at that time, I was already selling stuff, already doing some, I was already smoking pot, I was already drinking,
Right.
I was already doing all that. However, this one friend group that I had is it looks very much, it probably looked a lot like the Diary of a Wimpy Kids uh, friend group. So, like, there was a kid in
Okay.
a wheelchair, there was the little awkward kid, there was the chubby kid, and I had met this kid in a wheelchair and I really liked him. He was in one of my classes and I really liked him. I thought he was cool, but this was his friend group. And so when I was around him, I'm in this friend group, right?
Right.
So I remember him asking. They were all going to go to the Special Olympics. Same thing, Special
Oh
Olympics.
wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, they were going to the Special Olympics, and I didn't know anything about it. So I was like, sure, I'll go, and I went. And so that's where I learned how to do wheelies and I still know how to do wheelies on a wheelchair from
Right on.
that day, because I went and I was a volunteer with him and supported, the other kids that were in the Special Olympics, and that was my very first time. Now I didn't really do much, to be honest with you, other than just was there for him,
Right.
and thought that was really cool to be there for him and all that stuff. But Yeah, it was also a Special Olympics.
Right on.
Didn't think much of it. Unfortunately, at that time of life, just like all my little friend groups, it was almost like they were a secretive friend group. Like I didn't really
Right.
tell a lot of people that I liked these kids or that
Right.
I was with them. Not because I was really ashamed of them, just that they weren't doing a lot of the stuff that I was doing. So I kind of
Sure.
kept from them that I was smoking pot and drinking, just like I would keep from the other kids that I actually liked these kids and stuff too. So, but that was my first experience. Of giving back and doing something I think was outside of myself. But as far as like the one that took, like when I really felt how good it felt, I don't know. I really
Right.
don't. I mean, I remember first being a case manager here in Orlando area and taking kids to. We took Dana and I were part of it. We actually took kids, me, Dana, and a local psychologist took kids camping, and that was really
Oh wow.
cool.
Right on.
You know,
Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. You got Dana to go camping? Like,
yeah.
are we talking like roughing it camping, or we talking about glamping, where you're
No,
like,
it was roughing and camping, man. It was
wow.
roughing it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah, hiking to a spot and camping was in Blue
Wow.
Springs. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we did some things like that where we did certain little adventures with kids, like even at Disney. We took the kids to Disney with a bunch of people,
Right on.
needy kids to Disney. So there was a couple of those ones that I really liked it because I didn't really like kids, but I liked those kids because
Right.
they were like kids that had gotten in trouble by the law, and they were like little attitude minded kids, which
Right.
which I really loved, man. And
Yeah.
and to be honest
Of
with you,
course.
Dan and I, if we weren't just 23, 24 years old at the time, I'm telling you, there was at least two kids there we would have adopted easily,
Wow. Wow.
easily, yeah,
Yeah.
easily.
I think. Yeah. So same thing. So I got bit by the bug then, right, as a young kid. But then as I got older, I just wanted to kind of continue to give back, right? Like, I had a period of time where I was kind of just, angry at the world or whatever, and I didn't do much in the way of giving back. And then I kind of got over my own little hurdles, my own drama, my own stuff. And
Yeah,
then when I came out the other side of that, I just wanted to be of service. I wanted to help a little bit. And my
right.
mother was a corrections officer, and she started talking at this group that doesn't exist anymore. It was called JASP, JAS, the JASP program in Orange
Yeah, jazz
County.
program.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so she would go and talk to the kids and like kind of like
Mm-hmm.
hey guys, this is what you want because being a corrections officer, she could give them an idea of where their life is going.
Yeah,
And I participated in that I think like once or twice. I don't remember what role I played, but I just remember being there and seeing it all happen.
yeah,
Um, and I wanted a bigger role, but then the jazz program shut down. And so we were
mm,
both like, well, now what? And then that's when we saw Great Oaks Village. And Great Oaks Village is just a place where kids are removed from the home for various reasons, everything from sexual abuse to behavioral issues, whatever. It's just they're no longer in their home unit and they're here. And so we found that place and started talking. And then that's when I got into mentoring there. A really good a good person in my life right now. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he wants me to put his stuff out there, but I still know him to this day. And
cool.
it's been I was 20 I think or yeah 20 or 21, 20 years old when I started talking to him. So now I've known him for 20 years and he's doing great. He's got a kid now. Like I'm so proud of him and where he's at in his life.
So you did that out of care. You wanted to be a big brother. Is that what you're saying?
Um, I wanted I know what it was like for me when I was
Right.
going through all my stuff where I didn't feel and this isn't to take anything away from my mom because my mom was there my entire life, but she had her own stuff that she was dealing with as well, and she
Right.
wasn't necessarily qualified or equipped to help me deal with the trauma that I was mentally going through. And so I
Right.
just remember how kind of misunderstood and alone I felt, and
Yeah.
angry and bitter. Um, and then as I got older, I realized that I did have people around me. I just wasn't aware of it. And I had a bunch of adults that were constantly shaking their finger at me or judging me, but not talking to me. And so
Mm,
I wanted to be in a position where I could talk to somebody and let them know, like, look, I'm not looking at you as all the things that you did. I'm looking at you as a person, and there's hope for you, and I care. And I wanted somebody to have that feeling. And I got that when I went to the Great Oaks, and even when we were doing the pay program, I got that feeling of like, there's somebody out there that cares. I genuinely care about you and where you're going, and I don't care what you've done. I care about who you are and where you're going. And that feeling of giving back, and that's what we're talking about today. For those of you just tuning in, is giving back. I'm gonna go on a limb here, man, and say it's not even an option. It's a necessity. I really do. I do believe for all of us, for our own well-being, it is a necessity. Now, I think there's varying degrees that people can get involved. You know, some people
Right.
can only get involved financially. Some people get involved with their time. Some people do it like we do on a full-time basis. Some people just give back occasionally. But
Right.
I think the act of giving back is a necessity for all of us. I think we have to find our own way of giving back somehow to, the quote-unquote greater good, right?
Right.
Because it comes with rewards that it's really hard to put into words, right? Like it's hard
Mm.
to quantify exactly what that means to us, but we all know it means something, right? Like we all see the benefit. We all can probably, guess on what it was, but there's that special little it that you can't put words to it that just makes you feel okay.
Right.
And I think that is underestimated in how important that really truly is. I mean, it can turn your whole day around, man. Like you could be having a bad day, and you help somebody see them smile. And it's just like you totally forget any problems or stress that you were dealing with in that exact moment. It's just like, you know what, this is really cool. And then it gives you a different perspective on things, and it just, and then the thing that we talked about with Drayton on Couch Live last week was you have no clue either on how that's going to affect the people you're helping, right?
Right.
Like, who knows the person that you just helped and you just took something simple to you was just 5 minutes out of your day, or like last night when we went to the Walmart thing, it was just a couple hours of our day. We each had a couple kids. Each one of our kids didn't get 7 hours of our time. We didn't give them any of our personal money. We just hung out with them for an hour basically. But who knows? Like that 1 hour could make that kid be like, "Yo, people care," and who knows what they go off to do, and that could have been the catalyst.
Right. Well, I completely agree with you, other than the fact that it wasn't just an hour out of our day or a couple hours out of our day, because it took 2 hours to get there, 2 hours to get
Yeah,
back. So you,
yeah. It
and then the
was it
two
was a
hours that we spent
significant
there. So
portion
it
of
was
our day.
6 hours. It was six
Yeah,
hours of our day.
yeah.
But that kind of that's the kind of stuff that makes it even better, to be honest with you.
Sure.
The fact that you carve that out and you
Yeah.
just give it to them, and you don't tell them, hey, I drove 2 hours to come see you.
Mm-hmm.
You keep that to yourself, and that's the humble part, right? That you kind of like enjoy just being there for them. For all they knew, we lived right there next door.
Yeah.
Um, I think the real issue for me is it didn't start out with like good intent. To be honest with you, I mean, I was in the Big Brother. I did a Big Brother deal, early on in my career as well. But I got paid for it. It was a paid assignment.
Right.
It wasn't free. Um, I'm trying to remember what the name of the school was. There was a school, Pine Ridge. I want to say, no, it wasn't Pine Ridge. There was a school that started with a P that was in Seminole County, and it was a school of all kids who had case management. They all had mental
Right.
health issues. It was a school that was run by a physician. To be honest with you, he was one of the owners, and he was a friend of mine.
Was the principal Jim Belushi?
I don't know. I don't know, but I do know the doctor was Dr. Riaz Muscuri, who kind of took me under his wing, and he was a physician here locally that really that I had met early on in my career. It kind of helped me become who I became in the community because he validated my purpose. He validated my
Right.
use. He kind of let everyone know that Louis was special, and you should hire him. And it was because of him that I was at this school and I was being a mentor for some kids, but I'd get paid for it. So I didn't start off with all the right intentions or know how valuable it was personally to do it. But I'm really glad that it took, Trinity. And here's where I think when you say it should be mandatory, here's why I agree with you that it should be mandatory or that it is mandatory, because I would have never known the kind of good feeling you can get from it, because there's so many issues that all of us have that
Yeah.
we grow up with, but you kind of like stuff, right?
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, you don't ever address it again. Like you stuff these emotions or feelings, but you never address them again. Well, when you start giving back to different types of kids or different kinds of people, you start accessing some of those things that you buried or some of those things that you never processed or dealt with, and you start getting a reward for who you've become
Yeah.
or how you've overcome some of those things. And so you start realizing how far removed you are from that wounded individual or or those wounds that you had.
Right.
And I think that's the big buy-in for me. That's the big win for me, is that when I do it, I realize, wow, there's a lot of work that I've done that if you didn't get to experience where these younger people are at the moment, I wouldn't really even know how far I've come
Yeah.
until I realized, wow, man, I can identify with this child, especially the kids that have like legal issues or
Right.
behavioral issues,
Yeah.
or they're misunderstood because of some emotional outburst that they tend to have. Those kids, I really relate to those type of kids,
Yeah.
because I felt like there was a lot of adults, that didn't really understand ADD, ADHD, attitude issues, aggressiveness. Um, just negative attention seeking. I used to hear that all the
Yeah.
time. You're negative attention seeking. You know, I don't think adults even knew that really makes no sense when you say that. Can you please put it in a way that I would understand it?
Yeah.
But no, they love to use those terms. Like I still think there's adults today that will use adult terminology or psychobabble, and they expect young people to get it because they get it
Right.
without realizing, look, it took you 30, 40 years to even understand what you just said. And now you want a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old to get it immediately just
Yeah.
because you said so. You
Yeah.
know, so I think the giving back portion for me that I really enjoy is that it's the act of being selfish without being selfish. That's
Yeah.
what giving back to me is.
Yeah.
It's me being selfish, but totally okay because it's not self-centered selfishness. It's this kind of selfishness that says, I'm going to give to you because there's a buy-in, there's a win
Yeah.
for me, and
It's
I don't
rewarding.
think I'm going to do this because I'm going to get something from it. Now I just do it, but it's a given that I'm going to get something from it. It's a given.
Yeah.
I just know I am. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
it's weird, right?
Well, and I think that that's the thing that people underestimate is they
Mm-hmm.
underestimate how much you get out of it as a person
Right.
by giving back. Because I can't, gosh, dude, I can't tell you. It's such a simple thing, I guess, but I can't tell you how many times, like in group, right? Me talking to people,
Right.
telling them, hey, um, helping other people, blah blah blah, and the response I get so many times is like, look, but I got my own problems. I ain't trying to go out there and help everybody else. Like I don't have time for that, right? And I
Right.
would always tell them, like, hold up, like if a group of 10 people, if I'm here talking to all 10 of you people at the moment, and somehow, some
Yeah.
way, I can be the catalyst for you to find some sense of happiness, isn't that 10 fewer people now that's putting negativity in the world that my kids have to grow up in? Like, and then
Right.
they would all be like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, helping. We're all interconnected, whether you realize it or not. Nobody's an island, and so helping
Yeah.
others is helping yourself.
And it's okay, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
and that is okay.
Here's the problem. We're in a time in 2020 where everything you got to feel guilty about everything you do, like whether it be your
Yeah,
privilege, whether it be your advantages, or whatever.
yeah,
Listen, it's all right that you get something from something. It's okay
yeah,
because at the end of the day, the motivations are allowed to have a win-win.
yeah,
All of you out there that do something for other people, but say, "Oh, I don't do it for other people. I do it only for them." That's just
yeah. No, you don't.
that's just not true. Now, you may not want to recognize it, you may not want to accept it, but the only reason that ever took, or the only reason that you do that is because it is satisfactory. There is
Yeah,
satisfaction. I'm saying there's a dopamine rush or some sort of
sure.
serotonin fill that you're getting from it, and that's why you do it. Now you may not want to accept it and do it, or even verbalize it because that might make you a bad person or selfish person or egotistical person no,
It
that
just makes
makes
you
you a
human.
person. That
Yeah, you're
makes you
human.
human. You're normal. There is nothing wrong with win-win scenarios. Here's when a win-win scenario is wrong: when you don't do something if there's not a buy-in for you, but when you do for others, there's always a buy-in.
Yeah,
When you give to others, when you're there for other people, there's always a buy-in. I guarantee you're going to receive from it emotionally. Now, it's bad if you want something financially only from the situation. That's different. That's
yeah,
not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, there's always an emotional win and an emotional victory or some lesson learned when you reach your hand out and help somebody else. Even if I'm driving down the street, Trinity, and I see someone like trying to push their car all by themselves, like they're in the middle of the road or something like that, or they're just stopped in the
yeah,
lane, I'll always pull over. I run out of the car, whether it's raining or not, and I say, "You want me to help you push this car out of the way?" Boom, we push the car. Even though I'm helping that person at that moment, it still makes me feel better about me.
yeah.
It
Of
still
course.
makes me feel better about the world. It still gives me some sort of positive vibe and energy, man. I just like the way I feel in the world at the moment. So, what is the real reason I did it? I can lie to myself and says it's only to help them, But obviously, the reason I get out of the car and do it is because I've had experience where all it's just an overwhelming all good. It's a win-win
Yeah.
scenario, and I love it.
Well, there's a difference between benefiting from something and getting compensation for something, right?
Yes,
Like I
yes,
benefit from it, sure, but I'm not getting compensated for my time. Like I'm not being
right,
paid for it.
yes,
And I do believe there's a huge difference in that.
right,
But like I said, I just think that people get so caught up, and I'm gonna use the collective we all get
right.
so caught up in our own day-to-day lives and our own expectations and duties and responsibilities and all this stuff that we get so caught up in thinking of that we don't feel that we have time or ability to give back in any way. Because
Right.
somehow, some way, that's going to take away from all these things that I'm already trying to do.
Right.
And what we don't
Right.
realize is no, that actually adds to it because you can't fill from an empty cup, right? Like we've all said
Right.
that, we've all heard it. We want to be of service to ourselves, we want to do all these things, but if there's nothing in you, you can't do it. You have to have something that fills your cup. And so
Mm.
if you don't fill your cup, then you're not really worth anything to anybody around you because you're not even you anymore. You're just shell of what you should be.
Right.
But if you do things to fill your cup and you're coming from a good place, then the value that you have to not only yourself but everybody around you is exponentially greater. It
Yep.
just, I mean, think about it. We all have somebody in our life that's probably just a bah humbug, just negative, just, oh gosh, what is wrong with you? Is that the person you want to go to for advice on how to deal with life? No, probably
Right.
not. Why? Well, because they're coming from an empty place. They're not happy, so how could they help you find happiness? So you want to go to that person that's all jovial and just doing great things, then you're like, well, I
Mm-hmm.
want what you want. How do I get it? Well, it's the same thing. When you're coming from a good place and you've got that feeling of warmth inside of you in a full cup, then you can do wonders for the people around you. You're so much more valuable to them, and think of the problems you can solve on your own when you're coming from a healthy mind state. And
Right.
that's what giving back does, dude. Like it's been around for centuries. Giving back, it's not a new concept.
Yeah.
And I think we all are aware of it. It just we get so sidetracked and caught up in our own stuff that we we lost sight of the benefit. We
Mm-hmm.
lost sight of the fact that it does benefit me because we do get so focused on compensation and
Right.
money and taking care of stuff that we lose sight of the bigger benefit that does give us. And
Well,
I,
well,
go ahead.
like that other NFL player that was there yesterday, Lorente McCray.
Yeah,
I mean, he currently plays for the Jaguars. He was there.
yeah.
Um, you know, I,
I beat him in rock paper scissors, by the way, twice.
yeah, twice, 2 out of 3 times. So Lorente, by the way, that was a hard hit that you gave me when he threw me the football.
You gotta look your blind side, bro.
I had no idea I was about to get tackled, bro. I was in the middle of a Walmart. Who would have thought that a big dude like you was going to tackle me in a Walmart? But
Hey,
anyway, I didn't fumble. I didn't fumble the
no,
ball.
you didn't fumble. I give you credit for that
No.
one.
All right. So the point is that even someone like that who's currently busy, right? He's currently on a
This is the middle
football
of an
team,
NFL season.
middle of an NFL season, doing what they got to do to be relevant in this NFL season. And he takes his time out to come. What he drove also a couple hours
Yeah,
to be there for this event.
yeah,
There's no television cameras there. There's no
yeah. Nobody
highlight
knew we were
reels
there.
there. There's no
We didn't even
yeah.
post about it, by the way. Like nobody knew
No,
anything.
no, I didn't post about it. You didn't. It was low key
Yeah,
that we did it. I mean, we have some video and pictures now that we could
yeah,
post afterwards, but we did it initially. It was all just let's do it for them, and it was fun, man. And so
yeah.
again, another example of individuals that give of themselves because it just feels good for them to give. But I want to mention something in regards to all this because I tell people that if you've ever called me or asked me for any kind of help or whatever, you've heard me probably say, number one, I'm a tool to be used. And I say, use me. Now, when I call myself a tool, I'm not saying I'm a jerk off. I'm saying I'm a tool, a tool that's used by this earth, by this world, by the powers that be to help
Sure.
people. I do know that. I'm a valuable tool. But I'm only as valuable as you choose to recognize it or use it. The other word that I'm using is the word use. Use me. And when I say that, we have this concept, Trinity, that usury is a bad thing. That to
Yeah,
use some, when I say use me, people automatically flip to that sounds like a negative
yeah.
statement you are making, Louis. I don't want to use you. No, no, you don't understand. Using me for the purpose that I exist is not a negative thing.
No,
That is a
everybody
smart
uses
thing for
everybody.
you to do. I
Yeah.
use a banker when talking banking. I use a teller when I need a teller. I use a person to purchase a ticket from when I'm purchasing a ticket. Well, if you have issues with your life and you need help in some direction or some guidance or just someone to listen to you, that is what my purpose in life is. So
Yeah.
use me. It's
Yeah.
smart to use people for the purpose that they exist. And so even just concepts like that are difficult when you're struggling and when you're in pain. You go, oh, I didn't want to bother you. You know, people tell me that all the time. I didn't want to
Yeah.
bother you. You're so busy. Yeah, I'm busy helping people like you. It's okay. You're not bothering me. You are bringing purpose to my life. A matter of fact, you are giving me a gift. So thank you for calling me and asking for help because you just gave me a gift. Those are the kinds of conversations that I'd rather have with people instead of
Yeah.
them feeling bad about calling me, you know, at whatever hour. Listen, I know how to put boundaries. Don't worry. If you are bothering me, I would set a boundary and allow you to know that. But you're not bothering me. So don't worry about it. So that's the kind of stuff that I think we have to be allowed to say, Trini. We
Yeah.
have to be allowed to accept in our lives that you're allowed to put boundaries on scenarios. But trust me, if someone answers your call and they're dealing with you and they're communicating with you, that's on them whether to hang up or not accept that call or call you back. If they called you back or they answered the phone or they're helping you, they're doing it because they want to.
Well, you know
That's
what?
it.
I think you actually bring up a really good point that I really didn't think of when we thought of the show, but it fits in actually perfectly. You know, the yin to the yang, right? Giving
Mm-hmm.
back looks different for different people. So part of giving
Yeah.
back could be accepting help, right?
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
have this also the other thing that we have about this society, and I don't understand it. I've thought about it. I've intellectualized about it, and I have never come up with an answer. If your car breaks down, unless you're a mechanic, you typically, hey, I need to reach out to somebody who's a mechanic to fix my car. You know,
Right.
if you break your arm today, you're probably not going to go Google YouTube and figure out how to set your broken arm. You're going to go to a doctor. You're going to go to somebody to set it, right? Like we all
Yeah.
understand the concept of staying in my lane and know what I'm good at, and there's somebody out there that's what they do. But for whatever reason, when it comes to this, when it comes to understanding how we interact with things and how we should deal with it, interpreting things, and emotional health and well-being and mental health, we have this weird need to like pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and be like, well, I'll take care of it. You know, I got myself in it, I'll get myself out, or well, I'll figure it out. Stop.
Yeah.
Part of giving back is not only being there for other people, but allowing other people to be there for you as well. You know, nobody benefits when you put yourself in a worse situation for no damn reason other
Right.
than to do it. And that was a lesson that I've had to learn myself. You know,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of pride in my life. I've worked very hard for a lot of things that I've had. And that pride sometimes would make me not want to accept help from people or
Right.
not want to. I was, no, 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 I'll figure it out. I'll do it. And unknowingly, what I did was made my own life and everybody else around me like more miserable because I'm just trying
Right.
to tough it out and figure it out on my own. And it took me a long time to learn how to reach out to the people around me and realize that I have people in my life around me for reasons, and they all have skill sets that
Right.
sometimes are similar to mine and sometimes they're different from mine. But learning how to utilize those was a very hard thing for me to do because I had that same sickness of, well, I'll just do it, I'll figure it out. Like, no. And so part of giving back is helping. You know, like you pointed out, we're in a similar position in the sense people do oftentimes reach out to us for various things, right? Obviously, the addiction is one of them, but sometimes it's just overall like mental health, right? I mean, because of Dharma Time here, I have a lot of people that reach out to me about spiritual things and just, hey, you
Mm-hmm.
know, help me with this, or what do you think of this? And they do too. Like, oh, I'm so sorry to bother you. Like, no, like that's what I do, and if I'm able to help you, it helps me. So you're giving back to me by allowing me to help you. You know, if I you know, one of my daughter's friends, you know, she's been in her life for a couple of years now, and she's got some things in her life that she deals with, and I've seen it from afar. Like I could, it's written all over her face. But I'm trying to respect boundaries, and so
Yeah.
I'm there. I let her know I'm willing to talk if she ever wants to, but I just stay back. A couple of weeks ago, she finally took me up on that and she's sitting there talking to me, and you know, it got emotional for her at certain times and stuff. But I felt like I was able to provide her some help, and she felt great afterwards, and she wants to keep talking to me and everything else. And when she kept saying the same thing, well, I don't mean to, it's like, no, you don't understand how rewarding that is to me. Like you're giving back to me. in your stage in life, you can't offer me anything tangible, right? Like you can't pay my mortgage or something like that. Like there's nothing you can offer me tangibly. But where you're at in your life, what you can offer me is my sense of purpose. You
Yeah.
know, making me realize that I didn't go through everything I've gone through in my life for nothing. It gives me wisdom that I can now give away. So thank you for allowing me to put my trials and my tribulations and my pain and my growth to use now. Thank you
Yeah.
for letting me use that. You know, and I think that we have to get better at that as well. We have to get better at just accepting help and using the people around us, like you said.
Right. I think you had mentioned a word early on in there that I just threw them at the back of my memory while you were talking, just so I can remember. And I can't believe I actually remembered it. Actually,
You didn't do this,
uh,
man. You didn't
I
put your
didn't do
finger.
that. I didn't do that, but I remembered it, Trinity, because it's one of those topics that I've been wanting to talk more about, and I
Right
think
on.
Dharma is the perfect place to do it. So I think that you need to
I'm gonna write it
remember.
down right
Let's
now. What is it?
Yeah, pride. I think we need to do a show on
Ooh.
pride, and I'll tell you why. Because I've always thought that word is used incorrectly. And I know English is my second language, and I'm not the best at the definitions of words. But here's why: I think we should be okay to be prideful and feel proud.
I agree.
Here's what I hear for real when I hear the word pride and I hear the way it described as a negative. What I hear is low self-esteem. I don't hear pride. I hear low self-esteem shrouded with the lack of confidence shrouded with like a belief of confidence or too prideful, like
Right.
what I mean. But what it really is low self-esteem and a person in fear that they actually need someone, in
Right.
fear that they could actually use somebody's help, in fear that they cannot handle something on their own. So when we say, "Oh, it's because they're too proud," no, proud is actually a positive. You should be proud of
Yeah.
yourself. You should feel pride in who you are, what you are, in your abilities. So I've never really liked when pride is used as a negative term and negative
Right
word. And
on.
I don't know how you feel about that, but I think that's a conversation for another
I've
day
written it
because I think
down.
we can
We
go
will do. Let's
good,
do that next week.
good.
Let's talk about pride.
But right on. But I wanted to mention it in what you were talking about because I think we all need to understand that it's our self-esteem and our fear that prevent us from giving back to others sometimes as well because we don't
Yeah.
think we have anything to offer them. We sometimes our self-esteem is so low or our value the value that we see in ourselves is so low that we say, man, there's nothing that I could possibly offer anyone in this world. I'm so broken or I'm so hurt or I'm
Right.
such in shambles right now. There's nothing I can really give. Like you said, you can't give from an empty cup except asking for someone to help fill your cup
Yeah.
is giving them something and
Yeah.
you're giving that with an empty cup. So you may not be able to fill someone's cup from your empty cup, but I will challenge that you're not contributing to that cup.
Yeah.
I think you are contributing to someone else's
Absolutely.
cup by telling them my cup is empty and I need help
Yeah.
and I need some guidance. And so that person may already have a full cup, but you help sustain their
Yeah.
cup. And so those are the kinds of things that I think that we need to remember that if you're out there and you're struggling with reaching out to somebody and asking for help for anything and you're wondering, well, yeah, you guys went and gave back to those kids and supported, but I don't even want to do that. I don't even like kids, to be honest with you. I don't even like people. Well, you
Right.
know what? I didn't like people. I didn't like kids. It was all annoying. But it was all that has been proven to be not that I hated people for real or not that I hated kids for real. It was that I felt that poorly about myself to the point where I knew that I was a liar, so I thought everyone else was lying. I knew I was phony, so I thought everyone else was phony. I knew I was not authentic, so therefore I thought everyone else was not authentic. So whatever I have looked on the outer world and accused them of being, I realized there's a part of me that was just that way as well, and I didn't like that about me. Therefore, I projected it onto others. So that's more like a university way of thinking. And I don't mean like real scholastically university. I'm just talking about it's a higher level of thinking. Um, and only go there if you have a good friend or a good ear to listen to when you go there with that kind of thinking. Because I don't want you to put yourself in a hole or in a bad situation. But I am going to let you know that usually when you're judging others, you really are talking about a piece of yourself that you struggle with. And so usually if you're not giving back to others because you don't really like other people and that's why you like cats more or you like dogs more or you like solitary situations more, it's because there's probably some pain that's attached to that, or some loss that's attached to that, or some abandonment that has been attached to that, or somebody really hurt you. And so the processing of that by giving back to other humans is going to get you the kind of therapy you really need. The kind of work that you're doing with your animals is only sustaining where you're at. But when you start giving back to humans, it's going to give you that therapeutic process that you probably really need. So
Yeah, well,
don't ignore it.
we have two shows that are going to come out of this one show, by the way, because you gave me
Okay.
an idea for another one,
Okay.
and I got a great title too. I'll tell you off air, that way I don't spoil it for everybody.
Okay. All right.
But no, yeah, I think the giving back it truly is. It should be mandatory. It looks so many different ways for so many different people. Um, and like you were talking about coming from an empty cup, the one thing you can always give those kindness, right? And don't underestimate what that kindness, how much of a fulfillment to somebody else's cup just simply being kind can do.
And you can
And
fake it till you make it.
yeah, it
You
doesn't.
can
It
fake it.
just smiling at somebody. Tell them to have a good day. Saying thank you. Just simple little things. That's all giving back. It doesn't have to be an event that you go and you donate all this serious time and you tell the world about or whatever. It doesn't have to always be that. It could just be something just really simple. Like um, perfect example, right? My neighbor. I don't even know my neighbor. I'm not that guy. I'm not a neighborly dude. I don't like go out there and talk to him. I show up, I go away, I come back. Like that's the extent. If I see them, I might, hey, how you doing? And that was about it. I don't even know their names. Some of these people, they've lived here for 20 years, and I couldn't tell you their name, right? But I have a neighbor that moved in. I don't know, probably a year ago now. I don't even know when he moved in. It was relatively recent, um, and I've talked to him maybe a handful of times. With them, I'm the type of neighbor that I typically, if I'm going to be gone for a few days, I'll just let them know, like, hey, I'm not going to be here for a few days. If you see something strange, let me know, something like that. That was the extent of my conversation with this neighbor.
Yeah.
But I think it was like a week ago now. I had this brilliant idea that I was going to fix my brakes. So I know how to change brakes. I'm somewhat of a manly man here. Um,
Okay.
and my daughter and her friend, they wanted to know, right? They're getting to be 116, 117, soon to be 18. They're starting to understand the value of a dollar. They're starting to
Yeah.
realize that things cost money and that if they do things on their own, they save money. And so I told them, I said, well, I'm going to change my brakes, and just a regular pad brake job is usually around $400 or $500 for most people, but it's relatively easy. And so they said they wanted to learn. So I went out there, I took off one side, and it looked fine. So I was like, that's weird. Pulled off the other side and realized, uh-oh, the brake on the inside was so bad that it actually hit the inside of the rotor, which I thought was weird. But now I have to replace the rotor. And then I realized that, I have to replace a caliper because the piston was messed up. But all this was to say, I got to a point where I exhausted my knowledge of what to do. And I called my neighbor because I see him working on cars all the time. And I just said, hey, man, dude, can you help me out, man? I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing wrong here. I've been here for a few hours. I cannot get this piston back. So he went and did what he knows how. And he finally said, it's seized. You're never going to get it back in. So I realized it wasn't that I was doing anything wrong. It was just, it was seized, and I didn't know enough about cars to realize that that was an issue or a problem that could happen. But he knew
Mm.
enough to say, no, it's seized. You're never going to get it back. You're going to have to replace the caliper. And then that's a two-person job because you have to bleed the brakes or whatever. So he offered to help me. So I went and got the caliper, came back. He offered to help me. He helped me bleed the brakes, and now my truck is running fine. He will never understand how impactful that was for me, right? Because I was at a complete total loss. That's the only vehicle I had to get around and get my kids transported and things of that nature. So not fixing it was just not an option. Um,
Yeah.
and I had no clue that it could be. See, it was something so simple for him that he was already out, already working on stuff. He literally just came over, looked at it, tried something. Was like, yeah, man, it's seized. You're gonna have to replace it. Like he didn't do. In other words, he wasn't out there for 6, 7 hours. He didn't get all lubed up and everything. No, he just basically came by, gave me just a little bit of wisdom and insight, and went on with his day. For him, it was probably nothing. He probably won't even remember that moment 5 years from now. You know, I will. That's how
Yeah.
impactful it was for me. And so he gave back. And what he's
Yeah.
giving back did is enabled me to be in a good place where I probably ended up giving back to somebody else throughout the week since then, right? I mean, last night I couldn't have done all that last night if I couldn't drive my car. So the point is, he gave back in such a small, minute way to him, but it meant so much to me. And every single person watching this or listening to this, you, believe it or not, have opportunities like that all day long.
Yeah.
Everybody you come across is dealing with something that maybe they just need to be told, hey, you're doing a good job, man, thanks. Or, if you work with them, it's something stupid that they did that you take, for granted. Maybe you take a moment to be like, hey, wow, you really did that really cool. Wow, I didn't realize how good you were at that. Just little things like that. You might be surprised on what it means to that person. Maybe that person is just going through hell at the moment and they feel
Yeah.
underappreciated. They're just hating life. Who knows, man? And some mundane task they're doing at their job, they do every single day that they don't think anybody ever notices, and you come across and be like, wow, you're really good at that. That's awesome. That's really cool. And you move on with your day. Dude, that could be the little boost that gets them through the rest of the year. You never
Yeah.
know. And it didn't cost you anything. It was so insignificant to you. That's an example of giving back. So this
Right.
idea that you can't is bullshit. Because you can. You just choose not to. And that's fine. I don't care what you've done up to this point. But starting today, you're aware of it. So I expect every single person listening to this to look for an opportunity every day to give back somehow, some way. No matter how big, no matter how small, now you know better, you have to do better. Bam.
I think that's the way to end it.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I would have went and had a taco after that.
Right? Well, do you have any final words?
No, I like the way you just said it, brother. I think everybody has that opportunity. Go outside right now. Go
I
find
agree.
somebody. Call somebody. Just giving back is giving. It's how you keep whatever you're feeling. If you like your life, go give back to keep it. If
Yep.
if you don't like your life, go give back and contribute to someone else's. You will
Yep.
get out of the deal. So I don't even need to tell you. Just go give. Just go give, 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 give. Now, if you're feeling used by the world and you're like, I always give for others, I just never do for me. There's a conversation that we need to have there to kind of figure that dynamic out and what really is happening. But I can assure you, the way you're viewing it is not truly what is. There's other stuff at play right there. You need to talk to somebody about that so you can process through that and fix it, because there's so many out there that just give to the wrong people, and that what you call giving is very different than what we're talking about giving. So that involves a conversation that you're probably going to need to use your picker a little bit better
Yeah.
and figure that deal out.
Right on.
But don't confuse the two.
Right on. Yeah, I'm just going to reiterate what I just said, man. Number one, giving back is just simply doing for others. Doesn't matter how big, how small. The second thing I'll say is uh, uh, you know, giving back can look so many different ways for so many different people. There's no excuse not to do it. And finally, the third one, because we just said it all, you always have time. Don't give me that bullshit excuse about, oh, I don't have time, or I couldn't, or I woulda, coulda, shoulda. No. Take time every single day. Find some sort of way to just help somebody in life. Even if it's just a smile, I don't care what it is. Uh, Make it happen. No more excuses. So that's all we got for today. Thank you for tuning in. Now that you know better, do better. Peace. Are you still here? What are you doing? I told you, go do better.